Hello and welcome. I must say, coming to Assam and going to all the rallies and going down the countryside and along this beautiful, beautiful Brahmaputra river. Shekhar, this is a river that's got serious water in it, right?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, any time of the year, there is serious water here.
It's a beautiful river, one of the most beautiful in India, and it's shaped like a question mark. The Sangpo coming round the corner and into Bengal. So it's a very complex election, this, and the national media really hasn't focused much on it. And I've learnt a lot by coming and going and traversing the state. Just as the national media hasn't focused on it, it's important to realize that this election is of great national importance. Not only national importance, it's fascinating in its complexity. It's got a lot of nuances. The local leadership here is hugely important, and the Delhi leadership, frankly, is not that important here. Often we in Delhi think a great deal of ourselves, but it's far away from Assam. So we are here in Guwahati, and we're going to go through this entire election step by step, the story of the Assam elections. Here's where it starts. There are 126 seats here and 3 regions. Upper Assam, which has got 56 seats, and on the north of Upper Assam is Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland on the south. There's so many states and countries that border Assam. Then the lower Assam portion, which is 56 seats. North of it is Bhutan, west of it is West Bengal, and south of it is Meghalaya and Bangladesh. And then, of course, the Barak Valley, the smallest part, which is 20 seats, bordering on Manipur. So far, about half of Assam has already voted. That's Upper Assam and the Barak Valley. That's 65 seats out of the 126 has already voted. And what's about to vote are the rest of the seats. That's 61, which is voting on the 11th of April. That's the lower Assam. And there's a major difference between them. But we'll come to that because they tell a very different story. But basically, what is this entire election about? What is Assam about? Let's have a look. Assam has 31.2 million people, and the Assamese are a minority in Assam. The migrants are 22 million out of the 31.2 million total population. 22 million, that's over 66%. And the Assamese, the original Assamese, just 10 million out of the 31 million. And how do the migrants and the Assamese actually break up? It's a big divide. If you look at the migrants, the Muslims are 11 million, the Bengali Hindu is 6 million, and the tea garden workers, which have come from Jharkhand and Orissa and areas around that, the British brought them here, 5 million. So 11 plus 6 plus 5, 22 million migrants. And Assamese, well, the original Assamese are the Ahoms, and they are now only 2 million. The Bodos, 1.4 million. Yeah. Christians, which actually overlap a bit here and there, are 1 million. The Mishing tribe, 0.6 million, and other tribes, about 1.6 million. So the original Assamese, altogether, just 10 million, and the migrants, 22 million. So Dorab, it's amazing, 22 million outsiders or migrants in this state and only 10 million indigenous or local population.
You see, I think that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that most of them, except the Bangladeshi Muslims, have been here for a long time. They've been coming over 100 years. The Marwaris came, the Bengalis came, people from the tea gardens came from Jharkhand and Orissa and Madhya Pradesh and Bengal. So the rest of migration has taken place slowly. So they've almost been absorbed into Assam. It's the latest migration that is from across the border that stands out.
But Shekhar, you know, you're an original Ahom, or you're a Mishing tribe, or you're originally from this area. Having 20 million, 22 million people from outside, from Bangladesh, from West Bengal, from, as Dorab saying, Jharkhand, etc., makes it an important issue in an election, right?
Yes, it does.
And you've covered elections for, you've covered Assam for so many years. It's always been.
Frankly, I too was an outsider here, albeit only for 3 years,
Right.
or less than 3 years. But this was a region which was very empty because it was not very hospitable. Maybe 200 years ago, it had a lot of swamps with very hostile conditions, and it was very far away from the mainland. It's only when people started venturing out in search of economic opportunity, and the British discovered tea, and then oil, and then great game started on one side, and Burma became more important on this side. So all kinds of things happened, and Assam started to get populated by people coming in from outside.
Right.
And there were various phases of influx. And when you say outside now, Indian subcontinent was one at that point.
Exactly.
So in fact, a very large number of Bengali Muslim peasants also came during the 30s and 40s because somebody had to grow food in very hard conditions on very fertile soil in Assam.
But what's happening now is that, of course, you find Bengalis in every part of the world, right? But here, two things. One, 11 million Muslims. So the Muslim factor, that's 34% of the population. So that's a huge factor in any election and has been throughout.
And
right?
less than 1 million of these are Assamese Muslims.
Right. But one small change is happening because Bangladesh has started doing well. They're not coming here for improving their economic condition like they used to, because Bangladesh economy is doing better now, right?
Also, the borders are being more securely guarded. There is greater agitation here.
Right.
So the political parties are more sensitive to the entry of more Bangladeshis into India.
So let's have a look at these two regions and where the population, how do they differ? The northern part of, upper part of Assam and the western part, the lower Assam. This is how they're different. For example, the Muslim areas are mainly in lower Assam. You can see the blue areas in lower Assam. That's 11 million in lower Assam and in the Barak
Because they're
Valley.
bordering Bangladesh.
Yes.
Or East Pakistan in old days.
Right. Now let's have a look at another major difference between the lower Assam and upper Assam. Tea gardens. The tea garden workers, there are 5 million tea garden workers. And they vote very differently from the rest of the population, or at least used to, and we'll come to that story later. And they're all in upper Assam and a little bit in the Barak Valley as well. So upper Assam, Dorab, has got tea garden workers, and lower Assam has got Muslims and the Bodos.
Yes.
Right. So a very different kind of
And Barak
election.
Valley has Bengalis, both Hindus and Muslims. Barak Valley is almost entirely Bengali, and you mentioned that it borders Manipur. It actually also borders Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura.
Amazing number
All the states. In fact,
of states and countries.
In fact, it's a gateway and railhead, in some ways also the airhead to all these small
In
states.
fact, the sub-official language of Assam in Barak Valley is Bengali. It's a sub-official language.
And that's the home of Santosh Mohan Deb and now his daughter.
Shushmita.
And the key thing, key difference, and there's such a big difference between upper and lower that how well you do in the upper may not reflect in how well you do in the lower Assam.
Like two different countries.
Almost, yeah. So now let's have a look at the actual election record here. And the last 5 years, we've seen two elections. The Vidhan Sabha elections in 2011 and the Lok Sabha election in 2014. And what a transformation. Just have a look at this. In the 2011 elections, these are the Vidhan Sabha that blew. The Congress held huge swathes of this state. Upper Assam moving into lower Assam, and the AIUDF, the Muslim party, which is in red here, they also held a lot, and including, and the BJP a little bit in lower Assam. But that was completely changed 3 years later in the 2014 election. Just look at how that changed. The entire upper Assam, where the tea garden workers were, voted BJP for the first time. Solid Congress support suddenly switched to the BJP. It's part, of course, of the whole Modi wave in the 2014 elections. But the fact is, the nature of politics switched dramatically between 2011 and 2014.
Can I say something about this? You know, if you look at the three regions, in the Barak Valley, the Congress was about ahead 1% in the Lok Sabha.
Right.
In Lower Assam, just 2% behind. But the Congress got smashed in Upper Assam, where they were 12% behind. This is what actually killed them. Otherwise, they were not doing so badly. 2% behind, 1% up, but 12% behind in Lower Assam.
There was
wiped out.
a mass shift of tea garden laborers.
Yeah. And 5 million of them is a lot.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget where they come from. They come from Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Bihar,
Right.
Odisha, yes, but
Right.
most of the states that voted overwhelmingly for Narendra Modi.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can't say that those same winds will not travel there, because people travel now, people are better connected.
But there are also
Now the-
homes in that area, in that large area, there are homes and missings,
Yes.
and they also seem to have gone the same way with everybody.
Now, the only difference, though, between Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, where they all came from, is that in Assam elections, it's all about local leaders. It's not really about national leaders. And I think that's something you
Tea
get when
garden
you're
labor
coming
also
here.
has its own leaders. Congress has a great tradition of tea garden labor leaders, but BJP has found some as well now.
Right. So what is the personalities behind this election? Let's have a look at that. Here they are. It's lined up very clearly, and this is what makes a difference in this election. It's not really as much Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi and Amit Shah and Mr. Modi. It's these local leaders. The first BJP alliance is all about Mr. Sarvananda Sonowal, Hemanta Biswa Sharma, and Mr. Prafulla Mahanta of the BJP,
Of the AGP.
AGP, sorry, and Mohiliari of the Bodo party. So that's one huge alliance. And this election is about these people. And you hear this on the ground all the time, which you don't get that feel in Delhi, where we tend to overemphasize the central leaders.
In fact, in some ways, it parallels the alliance that Nitish, Lalu, Congress, etc. put together in Bihar.
So strangely, there are a lot of opposites here. In Bihar, the BJP didn't go for an alliance, the others did. Here the Congress hasn't gone for an alliance, the BJP has. And this is the Congress. There's no alliance here. Basically, the two big leaders in the Congress party are Tarun Gogoi and Rocky Bull. And there is the AIUDF, which the Congress has not gone into an alliance with. So both these two are fighting each other for
Rocky
the
Bull is
Muslim
actually
vote.
Rocky Bull with a stylized spelling.
Acha.
Rakibul Hassan.
Well, Rocky Bull sounds really
But
cool,
I-
man.
Sounds a lot
He
more,
and Mr. Sarma,
lot more trendy, yes.
Mr. Gogoi's two right-hand, left-hand people. Mr. Sarma is now left to join the BJP. So Rocky Bull is the only person left with him.
Well, also don't forget Mr. Gogoi's son. He's a significant leader also in the Congress party.
Now, this is actually a key factor. The BJP did extremely well in 2014. If it repeats that with these allies, it's going to sweep this election. Now, let's have a look at what happened in 2014 compared to 2011. The BJP in 2011 got 12% of the vote, and in 2014 it went up to 37. In 3 years, it gained 25%. Where did that plus 25% come from? The AGP, the traditional local party, almost got decimated. From 16% went down to 4% minus 12. That went to the BJP. The Congress suffered terribly. 39 down to 30, like it did in the rest of the country. And the Bodo parties also dropped to 1/3, from 6 to 2, down 4%. So all those went to the BJP. Mr. Badruddin Ajmal of the AIUDF actually gained 2%.
Mr. Ajmal in the outgoing assembly is the largest single opposition party in the current assembly with 18 seats.
Right.
Single
I think he's the largest single Muslim party in Parliament also,
Yes, that's
right?
right?
With 3 seats.
Absolutely,
3
yes.
seats.
So it's a very powerful movement for this former peer and former and a
the
current
it's Turkey.
millionaire.
Nobody's ever a former peer. A peer is for life.
For life,
right?
yeah.
Because
Well,
it's
I don't know
it's
how
an
much-
inherited
Yes,
title.
exactly.
But
Now there are other aspects of him which
Yeah.
are more important.
But
He
he's
is
played,
often like a
he's,
peer.
he's played
And-
on the minority insecurity.
Yes, right.
And frankly, he represents a new, unique phenomenon in Indian political history.
Right.
Where since Jinnah left India, Indian Muslims have never trusted Muslims as their leaders. They've trusted Hindus. Now with Owaisi in Little Hyderabad and Ajmal in a much larger area, you see a new phenomenon.
So, what the BJP again has done opposite to Bihar, where it's learnt its lessons, Bihar it didn't announce its own chief ministerial candidate. Here they have announced clearly that Sarvananda Sonowal will be their chief ministerial candidate. We caught up with him at a little function and he had some really interesting things to say, and we'll talk about that after you hear this. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. First question I have to ask you. Am I talking to the next Chief Minister of Assam?
It's up to the people of Assam to decide, because next phase is coming up. And in the first phase, as you have seen, people's participation is spontaneous, and they have indicated that they want BJP to form the government in this state.
You started the movement on foreign nationals issue. I don't believe anybody has been turned out of India as yet. Do you think it's now going to be possible for you to keep the promise? Because you've made that your central promise, still, infiltration.
Yeah, I believe you have also realized that due to the porousness of the border, Indo-Bangla border, it was easy for the illegal migrant to settle in the state. And even the smuggle also, cattle smuggle and arms smuggle, and also the the extremist outfit movements. So now, as we have decided to seal the border permanently after the land boundary agreement, and this is the strongest initiative taken by our honorable Prime Minister, which was not taken earlier by the Congress regime. They could not do that, but this is first time, and now this particular initiative has particularly raised the feet, and particularly in the BJP government, that BJP can only seal the border permanently, ultimately, which will stop the influx permanently, and this is definitely going to protect the interest of the indigenous people of Assam, land, territory, everything.
Two issues from Bihar. One, they did not announce their chief ministerial candidate. Now they've announced it, so they learned. Also, Bihar, cow was a big issue. It was the front page of the newspapers, and it did not work. Is a cow an issue here?
No, we are we have a secular society here, and we are all living together. We have learned to live together. That's the principle of life in Assam.
Secular.
Secular, of
Two
course.
new leaders. You are a relatively new leader of the BJP. Mr. Sharma is another one. And you're both about the same age group. So tell us how it will pan out. And
we
Mr.
are
Sharma
working-
appears to have left because of Mr. Gogoi's son coming in.
We are working as a team.
When people ask you, you used to criticize the BJP in your election rallies earlier. Now you're with them. How do you answer that? The change.
Look, it's a question of quality service to the nation. And that is the expectation of the present generation. The quality of life can be determined by the quality of service extended by our system. And that, if that can be contributed, then the young generation in the 21st century, in the age of competition, science and technology, they firmly believe if there's a quality of commitment, quality of service, then definitely quality of life can be expected.
So you can answer that question. Yesterday was yesterday, today is today. Change.
Look, everyone is going for a sense in the state because they are fed up with Congress regime. Congress, they feel they are the betrayer. They are the total failure because they got enormous opportunities. So they have got tremendous support in the last so many decades, but they have failed to meet the commitment of the people of the state.
Shaban, on the last question. When the agitation was on, Assam movement was on, it was very popular. Then it made it very clear that they stood against all foreigners, Hindus as well as Muslims. But now the BJP's position is that Hindus in Bangladesh have the right to get asylum in India. There is still about 2 crores Hindus left in Bangladesh. So do you accept the idea that asylum in India is a right for Bangladeshi Hindus?
Look, like that's a national commitment, because to the six religious minority community who have been there in Pakistan and Bangladesh, and out of religious persecution whoever have come to India, and we have decided to protect them because they have come out of religious persecution, not as a ordinary kind of tourist. So that is why this is a commitment on the part of our government.
So Shekhar, here's the chief ministerial candidate saying that this is a secular party, this is a secular election. So the Assam BJP with the imported leaders from the AGP, from the Congress, from the Bodos are talking a different language. They're talking about secular state.
Well, in India, anybody contesting elections claims to be secular, even Mr. Ajmal does. But these candidates now, when they speak of being secular, they are more convincing, because frankly
and they're more genuinely secular. Is that right?
Well, they're more, yes, because they have no history of being part of the BJP, RSS. In fact, if the BJP alliance wins, it will be an amazing BJP government where almost 3/4 probably would never have worn the khaki shorts.
Right.
So, so BJP and RSS have imported the entire talent base here, leadership base from other parties. And in the process, what have they done? They have completely vacuumed the voter base of Assam Gan Parishad to such an extent that Praful Mahanta, who ruled this place, his word was law. I have moved around in this city, when he will declare a people's curfew. And we'll take passes from ASU as journalists to be able to walk around. And when the government declared curfew, he'll give a call to defy it, and entire Guwahati will be out on the streets and government will withdraw the curfew. That man is now reduced to contesting about 1/5 of the seats, of which he may or may not win half. So this is really the end of AGP and the end of the old Assam movement.
Right. So it's a very different election, a very different BJP if they win here, a very different kind of government.
It's a complete turning point in the history of Assam's politics.
And Dorab, just getting back to this difference between 2011 and 2014, the BJP did hugely well in 2014, up 25%. You rarely see that. So they would love to hang on to that, wouldn't they? But they have one problem, and this is what it is. The BJP is, and historically has always been, much better at Lok Sabha elections than at local elections in Assam. Look at that local support, that green line that goes across. That's its historical support base for Assam elections. But at Lok Sabha elections, you can see the national support is way above that. In fact, in the recent years, in 2014, right at the end, it's much higher. In fact, 25% higher. So they like to hold on to the national, but the worry they'll have is that they may go down back to the Vidhan Sabha level. Now, what is interesting, if we move on to why the alliance with the AGP is so clever and so good for the BJP.
Add a small thing.
Right.
These bulges correspond to the rise of two personalities, Mr. Vajpayee and Mr. Modi.
Correct.
So when they see a national leader who they like, then this changes.
Very good point, actually. So why is it so clever of them to have gone in for these strong local allies? Look at the AGP. It's exactly the opposite and an excellent fit electorally for the BJP. The local support for the AGP, that green line right on top, is much higher than the national support in a national election. So the Lok Sabha election is the blue line, much less than state elections. So that fit is almost identical.
But that's so for most parties that are regional, not like AIA, DMK or DMK, which are both now. But for regional parties, that is normally the case.
But now regional parties are like
turning national.
Turning national, you see.
But until they do,
and
this is the pattern.
And let's have a look at the Congress. It didn't go in for any alliance. And how does it compare in local elections, state elections versus national elections, Lok Sabha elections? Look at this. Its strength of the Congress is almost identical in both elections. That's the Vidhan Sabha support, that's the local support it's had. And look at the Lok Sabha elections. Almost the same. There's no huge difference. So they don't find a dip, Dorab, in local elections. The BJP does, but now the BJP's got an ally that has local support.
Yeah, but that local support is not in Upper Assam. The
Right.
question is, the battle is going to be fought there this time.
Yes, yes.
So that can be turned around. The tea gardens is the Congress base which has brought it down this time. Can they go back there is the question.
Right. So one of the key things, Shekhar, that the BJP has, like a coup, taken the second in command, Hemanta Biswa Sharma, from the Congress, who really was the strategist, the young man, the rising star. They've taken him just before the elections, only about 7-8 months ago in August. And he is a great orator, and he's made a huge difference to the BJP campaign.
It's almost like, I mean, it's a big example of Jagjivan Ram walking out of Indira Gandhi's camp.
Right.
Because
At this stage, yes, that is.
because he had a great deal of authority. He was this government's, Congress government's, Pramod Mahajan and Nitin Gadkari rolled into one. A political networker and also a performing minister. And a lot depended on him, and he knows a lot.
Respect, he's got a lot of support, and also
he's got IOUs. He's got
IOUs.
everybody who matters on his speed dial.
Right,
Right.
speed. Right.
So,
well, let's have a look. We actually
So it's a big loss for Congress.
went to see how he campaigns, because he's meant to be a great speaker, and his oratory is excellent, and we caught up with him just after his speech. This was in Jagi Road.
Bargaon in
Jagi
Jagi
Road.
Road constituency in Marigaon district.
Let's have a look at what he feels about this election and his old party, the Congress party. So you have recently switched. Are you to the BJP? Are you in contention for chief ministership?
Not at all. Sarvananda Sonowal has been declared as a CM candidate, and we are all happy about that.
But one big change between Assam campaign of the BJP and the Bihar campaign, and that is local leadership is more important. You're on the posters, and also nothing about the cow.
No, in Assam, it is a very secular society, and BJP leadership appreciate that. We have 34% of Muslim population, 3% of Christian. We have to sensitive to all, and today we are following the Vaishnavite principle of Shankardeva, Sufis principle of Mahapurush Srimata Shankardeva, and humanism of Rabindranath Tagore. That is the three core ideology which Assam BJP is following.
So are you trying to change the BJP?
No, that
Is
is
the
the
BJP changing?
no, that is the mandate we have been.
that's a big change.
That is the mandate we got from our leadership.
But at the same time, a lot of the campaign is based on insecurity about Bangladeshi quote-unquote infiltration.
No, demography change is a big issue. So identity of Assam and the aspiration of youth, these are the two basic election issues for
So
us.
do you think infiltration is still going on?
It is going on, and homegrown issue is also there. So we need to bring
What is
lot
the
of
homegrown issue?
the people. The birth rate in Muslims is very high compared to Hindu. That's create poverty among the Muslim population. So we have to bring education, health to those population where still birth rate is very high because of illiteracy. Then we have to stabilize population. We have to stop inflation. Demographic change is a big issue. We have to address
So
that.
you had mentioned birth rate is high, low education. So you want affirmative action
Yeah,
for the Muslims?
Yeah, definitely.
Affirmative
For
action to help
the
them?
tea garden worker, for the Muslim, for the tribal, we need affirmative action so that birth can be stabilized
the income
and the
goes up.
young generation get more and more opportunity. They also start aspiring for something big.
You gave a very fiery speech, the best we've heard in this campaign. My question is, 18 months ago, you were giving exactly the opposite speech. How can politicians manage that?
I have brought the principle of Congress to the BJP. Rahul has changed the goalpost. We were against UDF while I was in Congress. So Rahul has become pro-UDF. I took the sentiment out of Congress and joined BJP. So my speech remains same. 18 months ago also, these were the simple word I used to say. Today also I am saying, Gogoi is changing his speech. Rahul is changing his speech. I am not. That
By
is
the
why
way-
my emotion is same.
By the way, one thing I've noticed, you attack everybody but not Sonia Gandhi.
No, I have nothing to say against her because she is a fine lady. Our problem that now Rahul controls Sonia. Sonia doesn't control Rahul Gandhi. So I think Sonia Gandhi is irrelevant, respected lady. Let her
you
be
never
like
ever
that.
like her.
So
Not
what-
necessary because it is all Rahul who is handling
What do you
Assam.
find wrong with Rahul?
Rahul is a completely unintelligent person. He doesn't know what is Assam, doesn't know what is Bihar, but he wants to control everything. He is a so-called NGO, and at the same time he wants to enjoy the life of Western culture also. He wants to have a jean, at the same time he wants to have a kurta and Punjabi also.
Not suit boot. Not suit boot.
He is much more suit boot. Modi visit foreign for government purpose. He visit foreign for recreational purpose. So he is much bigger suit boot than anybody else. Modi is an official job. He has no right to criticize Modi.
So a lot of people say in the selection of candidates, you played a very important role.
All
A lot of them, almost 50% owe their allegiance to you. So you will run this
No,
new
I
government.
no,
That's what people say.
I have not decided whether I'll join this government or not.
But otherwise,
I am working selflessly. I am not yet discussed or deliberated the issue whether I should join in the government or not, whether Sarbananda Sonowal should be given complete freedom. I want that BJP government should be run. Individual
So if they send you to
aspiration.
Delhi, you will go to Delhi?
I have done my best. Now party will see. But I want that Sarbananda Sonowal run this state completely freely, at least for next 5 years.
Himanta, you told us what's wrong with Gogoi in this speech and what's wrong with Rahul. Now tell us, what is it that you find so great about Narendra Modi and Amit Shah?
Now, Amit Shah and Narendra Modi respect people even if they doesn't have a blue blood. So for people like us, whose father is not Gandhi or Gogoi, we feel much comfortable in BJP.
So there, Shekhar, Himanta Biswa Sharma, he's obviously the driving force. His great oratory. But one worry for the BJP would be that a lot of the candidates have been selected by him. A lot of them are ex-Congress. So he's got a grip on the Assam BJP, right?
Yes, in fact, he's a great organization man. So I bet all the BJP has its own organization and the RSS is there. But I think this is a new experience for them to get an outsider who has the ability to overwhelm their organization as well. The only thing BJP would say for him is that, look, he's already leaving the Congress party with a great deal of bitterness and saying really tough things about Congress party, even its national leaders. So the prospect of his going right back there is very limited.
Right. And Dorab, here's a man who from class 6 was a student leader, and he's been a politician throughout his life.
And he's only 46 years old.
He's only 46 years old. He's got a media empire.
The third party is in. He started with the AGP, then to the Congress, now to the BJP.
Right.
And I think what concerns me a bit, if I were Mr. Sonowal, is Mr. Sonowal is contesting for Majuli, which is a constituency which is a missing majority.
Right.
And it's a 4-time sitting MLA. Now, why would a leader who's in a home go into a constituency? I mean, I'm surprised that they couldn't find a leader like that, a very safe constituency. So I don't know whether there are wheels within wheels that we don't even know about.
But he made it very clear that I don't want to be chief minister.
but I'm
I will
saying-
support him.
No, but what
if
happens
what
if he
happens if he
loses?
loses? But is there any chance of Sonowal losing? Because
Well, who can say anything? But I'll be very surprised because they must have calculated, they must have put the right kind of candidates, independents, this and that.
and he won the Lok Sabha seat, right?
Yes, no, but that's not from there. The question is they could have found him a clearly safe seat which you could have walked through so that he can campaign the rest of the state.
But it's interesting how
Majuli, by the way, is the largest river island in the world.
yeah. Yes,
It's an island.
That's why he's missing people.
Now, that's why the Mishing tribe.
Tribe lives there.
There is a tribe which Dorab is referring to. He says they're actually the missing tribe, but the Bengalis call them Mishing. So they've now known as the Mishing tribe. But that is such a superficial view of life. It's shocking. Because they're an important tribe
Yes.
in this election.
And the 2/3 of the constituency
Such a
was Sonowal
superficial
standing.
view of your language also.
Sorry?
Such a superficial view of your language also.
Yes,
Of course.
Absolutely.
I'm insulted. You should understand that there's a much bigger perspective here,
I
not
know.
just your low-level
Correct.
stuff. So, when we're talking about ethnic groups or tribes, a crucially important group after the Ahoms are the Bodos. And the Bodo leader is also now a major ally of the BJP. Let's hear what he
And
had
he
to say.
looks and walks like a dude.
He looks like a king, actually.
King,
Yes,
yes.
he looks like a king. Here's what he had to say. So, sir, everybody says you're going to be a kingmaker after this election. Are you going to be a kingmaker?
Yeah, but we have alliance with BJP and AJP. This is not matter the kingmaker. We are three. we are three party already alliance, and we are going to form new government in the leadership of BJP.
But BJP will need your support.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
feel?
BJP need our
There
support.
won't be a majority on their own, you feel?
Yeah, actually, we have alliance with BJP. This is not matter that I am the kingmaker. Actually, we have 3 months ahead with BJP. We have alliance.
Gramaji, the question is that suppose BJP gets a majority of its own.
No.
As
It is
Narendra
not
Modi
matter.
did in
It is
Delhi
नहीं.
and may not need
This
you.
is no. This is ये बात नहीं हो सकता
नहीं हो
है.
सकता है.
ये बात नहीं हो सकता है. ये एक बार हो सकता है, लेकिन और आ रहा है. टाइम तो बहुत है.
बहुत टाइम है.
बहुत टाइम है.
अगर किसी को मेजोरिटी नहीं मिली और आप कांग्रेस या बीजेपी
नहीं. कांग्रेस मेजोरिटी कांग्रेस मेजोरिटी नहीं मिलेगी. वो बात नहीं है. वो बात नहीं.
Say they need you to form a government. Then will you switch?
No. ये नहीं हो सकता है. कांग्रेस को हम सर के आए. कांग्रेस बहुत बदमाश किया है. 10 years
आपने
we
कांग्रेस
back.
क्यों छोड़ा?
क्यों छोड़ा? कांग्रेस सब जितना एमएलए मंत्री था 2012 में जो बीटीसी में जो राइट हुआ था, इसी टाइम में हम उसी के साथ एक ही साथ गवर्नमेंट में था, लेकिन वो लोग हमको गाली दे रहा है.
So what is the main issue you're fighting on?
हमारा जो इशू है वो तो बोडो एकॉर्ड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है. आप देखो कार्बी आंगलोंग और एनसी हिल्स का जो बोडो कचहरी अभी तक एसटी नहीं हुआ, और हमारा कोकराझार में मेडिकल
ट्राइब स्टेटस नहीं मिला.
So will the BJP give it to you?
या
So I know you're in a hurry. Thank you very much for talking.
एक बात मैं आपसे पूछूं कि आपका जो एरिया है उसमें मुस्लिम बोडो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है.
नहीं
कितना सीरियस है?
नहीं वो पहले जैसे था अभी ऐसा नहीं है. पूरा नॉर्मल, मुस्लिम हो, बोरो हो, आदिवासी हो, जितना संप्रदाय है हम एक साथ अभी शांति में.
लेकिन अजमल साहब के बारे में आप क्या सोचते हैं?
आजमल तो पहले जैसा पॉपुलर था ऐसा नहीं, आजकल पूरा डाउन हो गया.
So Mr. Moili Ari, sounding really upset with the Congress party, saying that he won't switch in case there's a hung assembly, but the Bodos have switched back and forth and been kingmakers, right?
Well, Bodos have no ideological issues this way or that. Bodos have local issues and ethnic issues. And the problem with the Bodos is they don't really have a concentration geographically in any part of Assam. So they have pockets. And
Bit more in the lower part of Assam.
yes, but even the political entity that was set up for them, the autonomous entity, that is also scattered. So they always have other people coming in the way. If you look at it from their point of view, in most cases, Muslims. So today they see the BJP and the anti-Ajmal parties as their main allies. So this also sort of characterizes the fact that Mr. Ajmal, he may not be the front runner in the election, but he is the one who's polarized this election. The public opinion is divided along both sides of Ajmal.
Now that's actually the crucial part. In this election, you've got the 11 million Muslims, you've got 6 million outsider Hindus, you've got 5 million tea garden, that's 22 million, and then you've got 10 million of various ethnic groups and tribes. Now, the strategy, just let's we work together. What are the strategy for each side? First, the overall politics of this election. How do these groups fall into which parties? And how is the current electoral strategy? Which groups are which parties trying to win over in this campaign? Let's have a look at exactly how that's happening. So who's going to win in Assam? Basically, of course, it's a lineup between the BJP and its allies, the AGP and the Bodos, versus the Congress, which has allied with a fraction of the Bodos, and the AUDF, the Muslim party. In fact, the largest Muslim party in India. So where were the Muslims voting at the moment? At the moment, historically, if you look at just the data, most of the Muslims are voting for the AUDF. They've switched from the Congress to the AUDF. So that's the biggest 11 million pile of voters. Then the Bengali Hindus, They are split between the BJP and the Congress marginally in favor of the BJP. This is based on historical data. Now the tea garden workers, these are crucial. They used to be totally Congress. Now they've shifted in the last election to the BJP with only a few left for the Congress. The Ahoms, because of the Chief Minister, are really substantially with the Congress. The Bodos are now moving over to the BJP historically because of the Bodo party being an ally now of the BJP. A few will still stay with the Congress because of its ally. The other tribes are kind of split down the middle between the Congress and the BJP. And the Christians, currently based on historical data, are voting for the Congress. So based on this historical data with current alliances, the percentage chance of winning for the BJP and its allies is 60% and for the Congress and its allies 40%. Now what can change? The Congress is urging the Muslim voters to vote tactically, saying that they are the real alternative to the BJP. So if the Muslims move out of the AUDF and towards the Congress, the election becomes 50-50 BJP versus Congress. One more factor that the Congress is trying, it's trying to win back its traditional strong support among the tea workers, the tea garden workers. If they switch to the Congress, they moved away in the 2014 elections, but if they come back to the Congress, then the Congress has a 60% chance of winning and the BJP and its allies 40% chance. So the key, Dorab, is that the Congress has to first divide the Muslim vote and win over, make sure that it doesn't all go to the AIUDF. That's one strategy. And secondly, so it has to convince the Muslim voters that we're a better chance of defeating, be strategic in your voting. Yeah. And the secondly is got to win back all the tea workers. As it stands, they've got a much smaller chance than the BJP. They've got a 40% chance of winning this election compared to 60% for the BJP. If they divide the Muslim vote and get some of it, it'll go to about 50-50. If they bring the whole tea garden workers over and the BJP does nothing, then it's about 60-40 in favor of the Congress.
I think it's the tea garden that's the crucial vote. Because I think, the Muslim vote is it's not that homogeneous. They have won the Muslim vote in the past. They just need to win a bit more. On the other end, tea garden, they have lost the whole lot. This is where they've been really massacred in 2014.
Right. So let's hear what the Congress leader, the Chief Minister for the last 15 years, had to say, what he feels about the Congress chances in this election. So thank you very much for joining us. In this campaign, one of the most difficult things you face is that after 15 years in power, very few governments come back. It's very difficult, worldwide. Yeah. So how are you handling that?
You see, if you have a complete trust in the people, if the people see that my performance every year is improving instead of going down, so definitely, if the people will vote for it, then also people will see the alternatives.
But after 15 years, worldwide people want to change.
Yes, there are sometimes exceptions also there. West Bengal exception was, Juti Basu was also there. So the people, of course, natural expectations goes high. Everybody expects much more changes. They do need it. But at the same time, people must have a confidence whether my alternative can bring changes for better.
But sir, don't you think you could have managed your party better? Why did you lose such a large chunk of your party just before election?
No, you see, just 9 people. You see, we have lost. You see, earlier also we lost. Same thing, not only that, those days 80% of top leaders we left us. And we managed with the youngsters, we are nowhere. It is the people, not the question of the leaders. We don't bother about who is a leader. It is the common congressman which is more important.
But did your party break up because you were building your own dynasty here?
They are believing, but everybody knows in Assam, nobody can build any dynasty unless he is accepted. Yes, he has a little advantage because he happens to be my son. But if the people they don't accept him, can he be a leader?
Talking about alliances, the arithmetic of election alliances help. Why didn't you go for an alliance with AUDF, Badruddin?
But that is not the case in Assam also. Even 2001, there was an alliance. Not with me.
No, you felt you may lose your base?
Yeah, I do feel it a loose base, and I'm confident on my own that we are capable of facing all this situation. It's even 2001.
So you don't mind losing 1 or 2 elections to maintain your base?
We lost earlier also. Not that we have not lost earlier also. Myself have lost also. So we may do, but we can't. Even those days, we didn't swim along with the Assamese sentiment. We didn't do it. We don't play that politics of Assamese sentiment or Hindu sentiment.
So you don't mind losing an election?
Why should I? I have lost also. India also, we lost also.
So are you mentally prepared to lose this one? If
No,
you
I'm
have
not.
to-
I'm not mentally prepared. Till today, I'm quite confident.
You know, just 2 years ago, the tea garden areas, which have been your strength for years and years, you suddenly were completely, almost wiped out there. What makes you think you'll get them back?
Last time it was a wave throughout the country. So yes, it touched Assam also. Today that wave is no longer. So that wave, some effect is always there, you don't have an effect. So this time since wave has not. And they have done nothing for the tea gardens. Instead of that, the ration they have stopped. They don't bother about the housing. They don't bother about the minimum wage. You see, they didn't take care of, look after the...
But after the election, if necessary, will you form a coalition government with Badruddin and say Hemanta wants to come back? Would you form an alliance?
No. You see, normally, Hemanta, we are not going to accept him.
Even
Because-
if he comes back?
No, even if
he was a
comes
good
back.
friend of yours.
You see, he's a good friend of. In fact, I promoted him. Otherwise, he was not originally a congressman. He was one Salfa, then once he's AGP, one what you call ASU, then again he Congress, then again
And Badruddin?
Badruddin also, I'll tell you.
Would
see,
you
we don't-
form an alliance with him?
No, we don't want to form an alliance. We want to form our government on our own.
No, but if you don't,
That answer I already have.
so you're not ruling it out.
I don't say ruling out or not ruling out.
Which means not ruling out.
As I say, politics is politics. But till today, I am confident that situation will not arise.
So the real veteran leader, Tarun Gogoi, hasn't he made a huge blunder going into an election trying to get your 4th term? Historically, elections around the world, if you're trying a 4th term, you've got a 20% chance or even less, 15% chance of winning. Then you don't go with any allies. Then you lose your second in command, your chief strategist. I mean, Congress seems to have played this election all wrong so far.
I think, frankly, it doesn't look like he particularly misses his second in command, because that was the problem. And he's allowed his insecurities to get the better of him, his insecurities and his own dislikes. His thing is, I'll sit in the opposition if I have to.
Yeah,
And
that's what he said.
If I win, then I'm a miracle man.
But one thing he did say that Mr. Modi says, go, go, Gogoi. But I don't say go, go, I say go, go, Gogoi.
Well, I mean,
over 80, that was quite a...
He's an energetic young man. And I think
and he
Mr.
was
Modi
pretty
has
fit
attacked
and he seems on the ball.
Mr. Modi has attacked his age. But look, he's also run a pretty good government, at least for 2.5 terms. The state has done better economically, agriculture has done better, peace has come back to the state.
When he started, this was a really violent state.
This
it was
was
a completely different
in
state.
the dumps, there were secret killings, there was a flight of capital, talent, everything.
But Dorab, expectations have gone up,
Yes,
right?
also what's happened is in the last couple of years, in say 2013-14, the growth rate here is well below the India growth rate. So the question is, it's slowing down a bit. I mean,
But also people have
if
got
you're-
used to peace now.
If you're on the ball, you're going for your 4th term. The Congress party should either change, bring in a new face saying we're the change, or you try and get allies.
That's right.
You're going in with a 80 to 85% disadvantage.
and
Now,
having lost in 2014, that taught you a lesson that get an ally.
Right.
But it hasn't.
now we've got the senior Muslim leader who's done so well in these elections, in the previous elections, joining us in the Lok Sabha as well as in the previous assembly elections, Mr. Badruddin Ajmal. Dorab, you wanted to ask him a key question.
Good evening, Mr. Ajmal. Thank you for joining us. You once again decided, like in the Lok Sabha, to go alone. The question is, by going alone and not allying with the Congress, are you splitting the Muslim vote and thus indirectly helping the BJP?
You see, the real fact, Tarun Gogoi and Congress party has done to split all Muslims, because we have approached several times via Prashant Kishore, via Nitishji, and directly to Gogoi Sahab. We have met with their representative twice or thrice, but after all, they have denied the alliance. That responsibility goes to splitting of Muslims or voters. 100% goes to Tarun Gogoi and his party. Till now we are approaching that if now also, before second phase, if they can do, that will be better for us, but they have not agreed.
Assalamu alaikum, Maulana Sahab. Compared to 2011 now, your vote will be split, no matter what you say or do. Doesn't it mean that you will get fewer seats this time than before? In fact, you may get much fewer than before.
You see, we are in field, and I am from last 6 months. I am going to each and every corner, each and every voters of the Assam, especially in our area. And whatever I have found, this time we will do at least 2 times better than before.
Sir, I just wanted to ask you, isn't it a bit worrying? Aren't you making this a communal election? Are you a communal party? And that's a worry for everybody, all the voters. Is that your standard? Are you a communal party?
Absolutely not. That is a false allegation towards us. Our party is 100% secular party. We have Dr. Aditya Langtasa, we have Devananda Kuwar, we have Gopidas, we have Sapan Kaur, and like this. This time in our list, you can see 71 tickets we have given, and among them 32 people, they are from all communities of Assam. That is will be pure, that is clearly indicates that we are not communal force, we are a secular and most secular party. I can challenge any party within after independence. They can show, if they can show, I can challenge them. We are the most secular party. This is our.
Mr. Ajmal, there is a distinct possibility, though not many people agree with it, there could be a hung assembly. In that case, you, as you said, want to be kingmaker. And who will you support? Mr. Gogoi or Mr. Sonowal?
You see, in case of hung assembly, we will vote after election. Our party will take decision which party brings more and more seats. We will go with them, except BJP and Congress. Our parties, from the day beginning, our party policy is anti-Congress and anti-BJP.
So Maulana Sahab, a question. Do you agree or not agree that everybody should say Bharat Mata Ki Jai to prove his loyalty to the nation?
You see, Bharat Mata Ki Jai is not issue in this election in our Assam. But every meeting, finishing with Jai Hind, Jai Hind, Jai Hind, or Jai I Ahom, Jai I Ahom, Jai I Ahom. This is my practice in each and every meeting.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. We quickly move on to the BJP strategy. Obviously, the BJP won't be trying to get the Muslim votes, although some of them did say that with the influx of non-BJP members, they are even trying for that and they'll get 10% of the Muslim vote. But their target will be different. They'll try and shift other voters. Let's see what their strategy has to be to really seal this election. What about the BJP strategy? The BJP strategy is to try and get all the tea garden workers, even the little bit that remained with the Congress, totally onto its side. That would give it a 70% chance of winning with only 30% chance for the Congress. And the other aspect of the BJP strategy is to move the tribals over to the BJP. And if they move over, it will be 80% chance of the BJP winning this election and only 20% chance of the Congress. So the key strategy, key factor for the BJP is to try and hold on to the tea garden worker vote, which they won in 2014, and try and bring some new tribals into their fold, in which case they really dominate this election. So what are they doing to ensure that?
Well, they've got the Bodo party tied up with them.
Right.
They've got AGP, which actually is a generalist sort of party tied up with them. And I think they have their own Ahom and whatever leaders, tribal leaders, who will bring the whole lot together. I think they're saying we are the main anti-Muslim party in a way.
Right.
But there is a communal undercurrent. So they're trying to tap as many loose ends as they can.
So bringing these to holding on to the tea garden workers and bringing other tribals, how are they doing that?
Well, Bodos are being brought along by
Yes.
the Bodo party.
Yes.
That's a large tribal population. But there are 6 communities which want tribal status, led by the Ahoms as the most powerful community. And BJP has promised them tribal status.
Including the Mishings, right?
Including the Mishing. So the idea is that will entice them, because woven into that is a complex promise that following clause 6 of Assam Accord between Rajiv Gandhi and Assam and ASU, they will create protected constituencies for indigenous people, as is done, say, in Tripura, or as in a reverse manner is done in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, I think it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. It's going to cause a great deal of commotion all over the country, but that hope has been given to these communities.
But the fascinating story of this election, you're talking about reverses, it's a complete reverse of the Bihar elections. Here, they're allowing the local leadership to dominate. They're in all the hoardings. They didn't have that in Bihar. They've announced their chief minister. They never had that in Bihar. And there's no cow on the front in Bihar. They had, I don't want to remind you of Bihar. You made the mistake. You and I will find it.
He bowled the one round our legs.
So, the front pages of paper had the cow. None of that here. So it's a major lesson they've learned, but they've adjusted.
Yes, but I think also the cow has never been a big thing here.
Yeah.
It's in the northeast, never been a big thing. So it would have been, perhaps an overkill and perhaps counterproductive.
In fact, BJP leaders, including Hemanta, have been at pains to tell us that this is a secular state.
Right.
You eat what you want, you live as you live.
Right.
But look, other thing that's not there in Assam is caste, which you have in Bihar. But the difference is that what is caste to Bihar is ethnicity to Assam.
Exactly.
So ethnicity is the caste of Assam politics.
So 2 different elections, 2 different stories. It's amazing how the BJP has changed its strategy from Bihar to Assam. 2 elections following each other and 2 completely different stories.
A new experiment of importing leaders.
Right.
And hoping for a different result.
Hoping for a different result. Well, we won't ask you who's going to win. We know why. Thanks very much for watching. We found this a fascinating election.
As long as we get who won it right.
Right, exactly. Thanks very much for watching.